If you're an engineering manager, you know this feeling. It is the absolute worst. It's that sinking feeling when you realize something you delegated just kind of vanished. Well, today, we are diving into a system that is designed to fix that for good. I mean, this has to be one of the most maddening scenarios in management, right? You're in a meeting, you lay out a critical task, you see heads nodding all around the room, and you walk away thinking, great, that's handled. Then a few days go by, and you find out nothing, absolutely nothing has happened. Why? Because everyone thought someone else had it.
So, what is really going on here? Is it a people problem? Is your team just not motivated enough? Do they not have that sense of ownership? Well, the answer might actually surprise you. It's probably not what you think.
All right, let's get into this. The very first thing we have to realize is that what looks like a lack of ownership is usually just an illusion. It's a symptom of a much deeper, more systemic problem. And this is where it all starts to go wrong. As managers, we walk away from a conversation convinced we were crystal clear. We think we perfectly defined the task. But to our team, it might have sounded like a bunch of vague ideas. That huge gap between what we meant and what they heard, that's the space where ownership goes to die.
And this right here is the core idea. This reframes the entire problem. The issue isn't some moral failing in your team members, it's a failure in your process. You're missing three essential pillars: clarity, commitment, and closure. When just one of those is missing, the whole thing just collapses.
So let's really dig into the mechanics of this failure. It's not random. It actually follows a super predictable pattern, and it's rooted in some basic psychology and, well, broken process. You know that classic, I thought you were doing it problem? Well, there's actually a name for that. It's called diffusion of responsibility. When a task is assigned to a group or just vaguely thrown out there, every single person feels less responsible for it. It's just a natural human thing, and a good system has to be designed to fight it directly. And this is the foundation of the solution. To fight that diffusion of responsibility, you have to intentionally, deliberately build these three pillars into how you delegate work. Seriously, think about any time ownership has failed on your team. I'm willing to bet you can trace it back to a breakdown in one of these three things.
Okay, so how do we actually build those pillars? Not with more nagging or more micromanagement, that's for sure. We do it with a simple, repeatable system. Let's get into the framework that actually makes ownership stick.
And here it is, the ownership loop. It's three distinct steps, and each one is specifically designed to install one of those missing pillars. You get clarity through explicit assignment, you get commitment through verbal buy-in, and you get accountability with a closure ritual. It's a process that just forces everyone to be on the same page. Let's start with step one, clarity. I mean, the difference here is night and day. Can you take a look at this? That's basically an invitation for work to evaporate. The good example, though, that's a contract. It defines a single person responsible, a measurable outcome, a deadline, and the exact definition of what done looks like. There is zero room for confusion.
Now for step two, and this is the one so many managers skip, a nod is not a commitment. I'm going to say that again. A nod is not a commitment. There is something incredibly powerful that happens psychologically when a person says the words out loud. It creates a much stronger sense of personal duty. The key is you have to actually hear them say it.
And finally, step three, closure. This is what makes the whole system sustainable. Work can't just get done and then disappear into the void. It has to come back to you in a structured way. This means you need a closure ritual, a quick summary that has to include the result, the evidence to back it up, any new risks you found along the way, and what the next actions should be. Okay, knowing the steps is one thing, but having the exact words to say can make all the difference, right? So let's look at some really simple scripts you can start using literally today. This little script right here is your secret weapon for step one. It's a template that forces you to provide that absolute clarity we talked about. And that last question, are you committing to this? That's the perfect bridge right into step two. And this is your key phrase for step two. Look, this isn't about being patronizing or talking down to someone. It's about closing that understanding gap. Hearing them say the commitment back to you in their own words is the only way you can be 100% sure you're both on the exact same page. And for those times when things still go wrong, because they will, this is your diagnostic tool. It's a totally non-confrontational script that shifts the focus away from blaming a person and puts it on fixing the system. It reinforces this idea that ownership is a shared process, not a personal failing.
Let's just zoom out for a second. This whole loop, it's not just a set of management tricks. It's really a fundamental shift in how you think about work and your team.
You see, the ownership loop works so well because it deals with both the logical and the emotional parts of doing a job. A lot of times, people avoid taking ownership because they're afraid of failing or letting you down. This system gives them the psychological safety of clear rules and predictable outcomes. It makes it safe for them to step up and own it. If you remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. You cannot force someone to feel ownership. You can't demand it. But you can absolutely design a system where taking ownership becomes the natural, easy, default behavior for everyone. So it's time to stop asking, why don't they own this? And start asking, what part of my system is broken? When you build this loop and you protect it, you create an environment where accountability just happens. No more chasing people down.
So, as you go back to your team, I want you to think about one thing, one task, one project that's kind of stuck in that vague, fuzzy middle ground right now, that piece of work that seems to have just evaporated. That's your starting point. So what loop will you build first?